Hi everyone, welcome to another Procreate tutorial. This is the drawing that we'll be completing in today's video. This fun van going surfing kind of drawing with our wave in the back and our fun van in the front that takes up, we use just one brush in this drawing, the monoline brush, which is a standard Procreate brush, so there's no brushes to download or anything. So if you are new here, I mainly post Procreate tutorials, so if that is something you are interested in, go ahead and subscribe. I'm also offering extra tutorials over on Patreon, so I will link that in the description as well so that you can check that out. But before we get started, the only thing that you'll need to do is download the color palette. I have it linked in the description below. It's totally free to download. Just open up the file that downloads on your iPad, and it will automatically import into Procreate so that you can use the same colors as you follow along with the drawing today. You can experiment with different colors for your van if you would like. I tried a few different ones and they're all kind of fun. So whatever color you would like to use there. I will also post the canvas dimensions, color profile, and layers needed on the screen and in the description below so that you can use those to set up your canvas. So take a minute to get everything ready and then come back and we will get started. Okay, this is the color palette that we'll be working with in today's drawing. So the first thing that we're going to do is just set the background color. So we are going to do that by going to our layer menu, clicking on this background color layer at the very bottom, and then selecting the first color on the first row of the color palette to set it to this nice dark teal color. Okay, then now we're just going to jump right into making our circle that everything will sit on. So that will be on layer 1 here. We will grab the second color on the top row of our color palette, and we will be on the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. We'll set the size to about 50%, and we are just going to draw a nice good sized circle here. Hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth, and then touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. Set the size kind of wherever, and then go ahead and fill it in. And then we are just going to center this on our canvas now. So to do that, we'll just click our arrow tool to select it. Make sure that snapping is turned on in the bottom left here. And then if you need to do any resizing, just make sure you're on uniform and you can resize it a little bit. But we're going to leave it, kind of like a good medium size here, not like really close to touching the edges or anything. We'll need room for like our clouds that are kind of outside of our edges and stuff. So anyway, we are just going to center it on our screen here, where we see both yellow lines. So here's my horizontal one, here's my vertical one. That means we're directly in the center of the canvas from top to bottom and from left to right. Okay, then we're going to make the black line that is our ground. And to do that, we are going to turn on symmetry. So we'll go to our layer menu, add a new layer above this one. This is where we'll draw the black line, and then we'll kind of cut off the bottom of the circle here in a second. We'll get rid of that little bit at the bottom underneath our black line after we draw it. So again, we're on a new layer. We'll grab the black color, the third one on the top row, same monoline brush. We'll set the size to maybe 70%. And again, we're going to turn on symmetry now. So to do that, we're going to go to our gear icon, under canvas, click to turn on the drawing guide, and then click edit drawing guide, and select symmetry here. And then you should see a vertical line pop up. If you do not, you need to go under options here and select vertical, and then go ahead and click done. And then the biggest thing is that we need to go to our layer menu and make sure that this layer that we're on now says assisted. It should. If yours doesn't, go ahead and click on it and turn on drawing assist. Okay, and then we are just going to start maybe at most like a quarter of the way up from the bottom of our circle. Start on the outside a little bit, and we are going to draw a straight line across, hold it down to the middle, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Okay, and then that's just the start of our line. So then I want it to taper at the edges, and I couldn't really find a good brush that really got me the results that I wanted. So another way that I get good tapered edges is to just draw a nice thick line with the monoline brush and then use my eraser to kind of taper it. So we'll grab our eraser tool now, also set to the monoline brush under the calligraphy tab. We'll just set the size to like 40%. And now with our eraser, we're going to start in the middle. So Symmetry is still on, so it'll do the same thing to both sides. And we're just going to erase a line slightly angled on the top and then a line slightly angled on the bottom to get a nice tapered end. So I'll start right in the middle here. I'll kind of erase a line, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight. And then you can click Edit Line at the top to adjust it. But I'm just going to kind of angle it just slightly down on the top here so that we get close to a tapered edge. Right there. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom to kind of finish off our tapering effect. So we'll grab our eraser tool again, start in the center line, and then draw a line up this time from the bottom. Hold it down again, click Edit, and then we can move it around so we get a nice tapered line. Like so. I'll set it maybe about there. So now it's nice and thick in the center, nice and tapered on the end. And then again, it looks the same on both sides. It got a little bit thin overall, so I'm just going to grab my arrow tool, set it to freeform, and I'm just going to thicken it up. So in the middle here, I'll zoom in and I'll just select one of these blue dots and drag it down or up a little bit to widen it. And it just kind of widens the whole thing. That looks really good. Okay, so now we just need to get rid of this bottom part of our circle now. So let's go back to our circle layer on our layer menu. I am going to grab the selection tool and set it to rectangle. Make sure color fill is turned off. And I'm just going to start way on the outside here on the left. Drag it up to select this bottom area just until I hit my black line. Click my arrow tool and drag it off the screen. So now you should be left with this. If you need to do any more just erasing near your line or anything, go ahead and do so. But otherwise, this is what we're left with. And now we want to center it again. So we centered the circle before when it was a full circle. Now it's missing a section at the bottom, and so it's too close to the top of our screen. So I need to center these both at the same time so that our line stays on the bottom here. So to do that, we'll go to our layer menu. We're on our circle layer here. Decide right on our layer above it, the line layer. Click our arrow tool, and we just need to move it down a little bit until we recenter it on both yellow lines there. Okay, and then this is what we're left with. So now we can move right on to drawing our van. We're going to draw our van first, place it where we would like it, and then we will draw everything else around it. So the wave, the sun, the clouds, all that. So van first, we're going to use a lot of symmetry on this as well. So let's just go to our layer menu. We're going to add a new layer on top of everything. And we are first going to use this white color on the second row, the first one in line. And we are going to use Symmetry to start. So let's go ahead and on our layer menu here on this new layer, click on it and turn on Drawing Assist so that we can use Symmetry. Okay, and same monoline brush. Let's just drop our size back down to 50%. And I am going to first start by making circles for my top left and right corners of my van. So we'll make it kind of bigger and then we'll downsize it and place it where we want it. So I'm just going to start maybe right about here, kind of in the middle towards the left of my circle. Draw a nice circle shape, hold it down until it turns perfectly smooth, and then touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. A good size like this so we get a nice kind of rounded top to it. You can click Edit if you need to and adjust the circle size or placement. I'm just going to drag mine up a little bit higher, like so. Okay, then we are going to do the sides. So we're just going to draw a straight line for them. So starting on the very left of this left circle, I'm just going to draw a straight line up and down, hold it down until it turns perfectly straight, and then touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. And I'm just going to stop it right about here so I can make another circle at the bottom. If you need to extend yours longer, like down here, even past your black line, that's okay. Whatever works for your picture, we will move it later, like I said. So just kind of do whatever works to get the good, shape that you want. So, maybe about this long is good. I'm going to let that go. Click the line button if you need to and just make sure it lines up nicely on the left side of this top circle there. Okay, then I'm going to draw a smaller circle on the bottom here to kind of round the bottom of our van. So another circle shape, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. So pretty small, and then just click the circle button at the top so you can move it around and just place it nicely on our line here again, like so. So this is what we're working with now. So then we're going to draw a line straight across the top and the bottom. So I'm going to start on the top of this left circle, draw a line straight across to the middle, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Click the line button at the top to edit it, and just again make sure they line up nicely with our circles so they're nice and smooth. And then we'll do the same thing on the bottom here. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen, click the line button if you need to adjust it at all. Okay, then we can fill it in. So let's go ahead and fill in the main part, and then you can click this continue filling button at the top, and you can touch the other two circles as well to fill in our entire shape here. Okay, so it's very boxy right now. We don't want it to be so boxy in the end, so we are going to do a little bit of adjusting on it now. So we are going to grab our arrow tool to select it, and then we are going to switch this now to warp so we can kind of make some adjustments. So first of all, I want my top to be a little bit more rounded, so I'm going to grab the top middle area and just drag it up a little bit, just a little bit. Same on the side, the left side, so this is our back side, so we're going to drag this out just a little bit as well. We'll leave it straight on the bottom, and then the front, we also want it to curve out, but even more than we did on the back. So mainly we want to curve out the front, so selecting in this middle area and dragging that to the right. And I also want the top to kind of curve more where our windshield is. So I'm going to drag this corner button down and back a little bit so that it kind of curves back further there. So not down so far because we don't want it to look like lopsided. So keep it pretty upright, but just a little bit more of a curve there on the front, like so. So then if I switch it to uniform and turn this off, this is kind of what it looks like. So it just curves a lot more in the front on the top, and a little slight curve on the back, slight curve on the top. Okay, so then if you need to make any other adjustments, you can click your arrow tool, you can switch it to freeform, and you can like lengthen it a little bit. I think mine needs to be a little longer. I'll make the whole thing a little smaller. Kind of place it up here. Again, we can move it around later, but I'm just kind of placing it here a little bit better. So I might just stretch it out from left to right a little bit. Mainly, though, we do want to make sure we're still centered because we are going to use symmetry one more time for something. So make sure we're still centered on our yellow line from left to right. So the vertical yellow line here. Okay. Now we are going to change the color of our van to red on the lower, like 2/3. So to do that, we are going to go to our layer menu. We're going to add a new layer above this one. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask so that we're only drawing within our white shape here. Next, we'll just grab our red color, the second one on the second row, and you can feel free to use any other colors. I tried a few different colors. I did like another dark teal color, so it all kind of matched up and it was all, you know, different shades of teal. I did like a lime green. I thought that was pretty. You could do like a purple or a blue. If you want to use the red color, go ahead and grab it. And then we're going to use our selection tool, set to rectangle still, but we're going to turn on color fill this time. So then we're going to start on the bottom left outside of our shape, draw across, extend it up about 2/3 or so into my white shape here, so we still have room for the windows on top. So 1/2 to 2/3 at the very most to be covered. I might get it a little closer to 1/2 even, and then you can let that go to fill it in. Okay, and then if you do want to experiment with different colors, all you need to do is change the color on this layer. So sometimes I'll even like make a duplicate of this layer, which doesn't really change anything on our picture, but then I just have this one on top selected. I'll change the color to like, you know, a lime green or something, drag and drop to fill it in, and then I can switch back and forth on my layer menu just by turning this layer on and off so I can kind of see what it looks like. So that is just one thing that you can do there, but let's go back to our regular color palette here. So once you have that all colored, now we are going to make the cutouts for the wheels. So we're going to do that by going back to our white layer here that still says assisted on it. Grabbing our eraser tool, also set to the monoline brush. And this is why it was important to keep it on our center line, because now we're going to use Symmetry to make these cutouts. So even though we've changed the shape of our van a little bit, that's okay. We still want these to be kind of symmetrical. Okay, so I'm just going to start kind of just right in between this Symmetry line and the end and the front of my van. And I am just going to make a nice cutout that's like rounded just a little bit, like so. So that was a really ugly one. So do that again, but do it maybe smoother, so faster. You could also hold it down and make a nice smooth curved line. But I kind of want it to be almost like more like a trapezoid, so go up and then across and then back down. That one got too big, so let's do that one more time. So something kind of like this. And then I'm just going to erase everything else on the inside here to get rid of it. Okay, then we want to see a little bit of like the underside or backside of the van under our little wheel cutouts here. So to do that, we are going to go to our layer menu. We're just going to add a new layer right underneath this white layer. So right above our black line here, add a layer right there. Grab the next color on the color palette, this darkest red color, the third one on the second row. And I'm just going to make a straight line going from left to right. So align, hold it down till it turns perfectly straight, and then touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Then I'm going to click the line button at the top to edit it and just drag it around. So I just want it to have a little gap here where the front red color ends and then the back red color starts. Like that, just a tiny little gap. And then I will go to my pen tool again and just fill in the rest of this on each side. Like so. So that just kind of gives the illusion that we can see either the underside or the back side of our van. Okay, and then now we can make the wheels. So to do that, we are going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer above all of our layers here. Do not set it to a clipping mask. And then we're going to use these next three colors, so our black and then our gray and our lightest gray. So we'll start with the black color, the fourth one on the second row, same brush, same size. We are going to turn on Symmetry, so go back to our layer menu, click on this layer, and turn on Drawing Assist. Okay, and then I'm just going to start in this wheel area here that we cut out, draw a nice good sized circle, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Click the Edit Circle button at the top and just kind of move it around and place it where you would like to. If you need to change the size at all, you can do so by touching in between two of the blue dots to adjust the size. If you touch on a blue dot, it'll stretch it out into an oval. We don't want that, so we still want it to be a circle. But set the size to wherever. It doesn't matter if it's not touching this black line or anything, or if it's over the black line, that's fine too. Like I said, we'll kind of move this around, but we just want it centered kind of in our little cutout here. And then nothing too crazy big or too crazy small. Just kind of want it to look pretty like proportionate. Like so. Then we'll go ahead and fill these in. Okay, then we're going to move on to our next gray color. We're going to be on the same layer here. So just our next gray color in line, the fifth one on the second row. We'll zoom in here and make another circle right inside our black circle. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Set the size to, again, a little smaller than our black circle. Click the circle button at the top, and the most important thing is that we want to center it as best as we can just with our eyeballs. You know, we want a good amount of the tire still showing, and then make sure to center it. And then go ahead and fill in that center area. You might have a little ghost of a line here, so just kind of go over that with your brush if you need to. And again, it should look symmetrical now on the other side. Okay, and then we are going to grab our next gray color, the lightest one, the sixth one on the second row. Do the same thing again, so a pretty small circle on the inside now. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Click Edit at the top and adjust the size if you need to, and then make sure to center it. So I'm just going to have it be about this size. Center it roughly there. And fill it in. If yours overfilled like this, like mine did, go ahead and undo the fill-in, which sometimes undoes your circle sizing and centering, which is super annoying. So I'm just going to redraw my circle again, set the size, set the placement, and then when I go to fill it in, I'm going to hold my pen on the screen and then drag it to the left until it only fills in that center circle. It didn't go quite down far enough, so I'm going to try it again. Hold it down, move it to the left. Okay. Then fill in any little ghosts that you have there. And then it should look like this. Okay, so that's it for our wheels. So, like I said, it's okay if you're not quite on your black line right now. If you're either up in the arrow or down below it, that's fine. We'll move it around later. But now we're going to just continue adding details to our van. So the next details that we will add will be the windows. So to do that, let's go ahead and go to our layer menu. We're going to add a new layer right above this red clipping mask that colored the bottom half of our van. So add a new layer right above that. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask also. So we're clipped to our white shape again. Grab this next color and line this bluish color, the 7th one on the 2nd row. Same monoline brush, same size here at about 50%. And I'm just going to make the front window first. So I'm just going to zoom in on the right side here where the front of my van is. I'm going to start right at the top outside of my shape a little bit and just drag down and this way. We kind of want it to be pretty straight at the bottom. So something more like this. Then I'll color in the rest of that. And it kind of blends in with our background color right now, but we will adjust that in a second when we add a highlight to the front of this. So no worries there. I know it looks kind of weird. Now we want a few more windows. So on a nice like driver's side window and then maybe 2 more on the back side. So we're first going to draw a window using our symmetry and then we will adjust it as needed. So let's go ahead and add a new layer above this layer. Click on it and turn on drawing assist so that we can use symmetry. Okay, same color, same brush and everything. I'm going to start a little bit left of my line here, a little bit from the top of my van. Make a nice little circle, hold it down, touch your finger on the screen to make it a perfect circle. Okay, then we're going to do essentially exactly what we did with our van. So now we'll make the line along the left side here. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical, leaving a little room at the bottom for another circle. Click the line button at the top if you need to adjust it at all. Make sure it lines up nicely. And then yes, make another little circle about the same size as our one on the top, but if it's not perfect, that's okay. Click the circle button and again, make sure it lines up nicely at the bottom there. Then we're going to do a straight line across. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. Again, line button if you need to adjust it at all. Same thing across the bottom. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Then go ahead and fill it in. Fill in our circles as well. Okay, so this is our window. So we'll just kind of make duplicates of it to create the rest of our van windows. So I am just going to go to my layer menu, make a duplicate of this layer so that we keep our original one kind of intact here. I will click on my original one here and turn it off. Then I'll grab my new one on top of it that's still on. Click my arrow tool and I will drag it up to the front here. And then we can do some adjusting if we need to. So I might click distort and I might kind of tilt this top part back a little bit. So just kind of like this, kind of keeping it in line here. You know, we can move the bottom up so that there's a little bit more room. Maybe move this top left corner up a little bit so it kind of matches the shape of our van a little bit better on the top there. Something like this. Okay, and then just keep in mind that we are going to make our little door crack right behind this window. So make sure it's in a good place where like our door crack would be right here. We don't want our door crack to be like running into our wheel well here. So extend it longer down if you need to. But I'm going to leave mine right about there. Okay, then I'm going to go to my layer menu, make another duplicate of my original window layer here. Click the little checkbox to turn it on. make sure it's selected, and then I'm going to click my arrow tool here and just move it back a little bit. And this one I might just lengthen from left to right, so I might just switch it to freeform, lengthen it a little bit, but then keep everything else pretty much the same, like so. Okay, then I'll go to my layer menu, and then I'll just turn on this last window. So the one that we made originally, I'll just turn that layer back on, and this will be my backmost window now. So I'll move it with my arrow tool to the back of the van. And again, I might click distort and just kind of drag this top little corner in a little bit, like so. Adjust the length, adjust the width, leaving a little bit of room at the back for some details. So maybe just about right here looks good. I might make the top a little higher because there's a little more room right here than there is right here. So I'll select it again, just drag this up a little bit. Okay, that looks better. They look all very even. Now that all of our windows are set, let's go ahead and snap them together on the same layer. So including our front windshield layer here that's a clipping mask, let's just go ahead and snap all 4 of those layers together onto one layer. Make sure it's still set to a clipping mask to our van shape. Okay, then we're going to add the highlight to the front of our van. So to do that, we'll add another new layer right above this one, click on it and set it to a clipping mask. And then click the N on this layer, and we are going to drag this to overlay. That style there, so to make a nice highlight. Then we are going to grab this lightest gray color, the 6th one on the 2nd row, same monoline brush, and I'm just going to start right behind my windshield here and make kind of a curved little highlight going all the way down. You can even leave part of the windshield out, like this. I just kind of made a curve, hold it down, as long as at the very top we are covering the end of the windshield, just because, like I said, otherwise it kind of blends in with our sky and we don't want that. So as long as the top part is covered, you can leave this little gap here. I made an arc and I just held it down, and then now I'll just adjust it a little bit to kind of be more where I want it. Okay. Then I will take my pen tool and I will just kind of drag around this on the outside of my shape to close it so that I can fill in the whole thing, like so. Okay, and that's our highlight on the front. It's way too bright, so we are going to go to our layer menu, click on the O on this layer to open up our menu, drag the opacity down a good amount to 40%, probably see how that looks. That looks better. I might make it still just the teeniest bit brighter, like 50%. Okay. Then we're going to do a similar thing to make a shadow on the bottom left and to make a few details, including the door crack. So to do that, we will go to our layer menu, add a new layer above this one, click on the layer and set it to a clipping mask again. Click the N on this layer, and this time we are going to set the style to multiply to make a nice shadow layer, and we are going to use the same color and same brush. So we are going to first start on this back left side, maybe right where our white and red meet, and kind of make a nice curved line going down like this. Hold it down. You can try holding it down if you need to, otherwise I'm just going to kind of draw it again. Draw it pretty quickly. So just kind of something like this, and then I just want it to kind of disappear off, kind of like where this wheel well is. So I'm going to extend it just a little bit there, like so. And then again, I'm going to go around my shape here to connect it, and then fill it in. Smooth it out if you need to or anything, otherwise that is my main shadow there. And then we're going to also make the crack for the door on this same layer using the same color and everything. We might drop our brush size down a little bit to 20% or so. And then again, right behind our driver window here, just make a nice straight vertical line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly vertical. Click edit line at the top if you need to, just kind of center it in whatever white space you have here. Like so. Okay, and then using the same color, same brush, same size, now at this lower 20%, we're going to add just a few more little details. So we'll add a grill in the front. So we'll just start kind of maybe right under our red color, make a straight horizontal line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal, just going off the front of our van here. And maybe we'll make a couple of those, maybe 3. So we'll do another one, just kind of spacing them out evenly, like so, making sure to touch my finger every time so it's perfectly horizontal. Leaving a little bit of room at the bottom here for our headlight. Okay, then we'll make maybe a few more little horizontal lines on the back here by this back window in kind of whatever room you have here. I'm not going to go off the edge this time, so I'm just going to start in my white space here, make a line, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. And then as it gets like rounded at the top here, I might just make these a little shorter on the left side, but kind of line them up on the right side still as best as I can. So maybe 3 or 4 of those, or just kind of whatever you think. Like that. I like those. I'm just going to move them up a little bit. So since they're not touching this other part of my shadow, I'm just going to use my selection tool on freehand with color fill turned off. Select around them, arrow tool, and just kind of move them up here like so. Okay, so then that is it for our shadows and our multiply layer. So now we're going to add the final details, which are the tail light, headlight, door handle, and the bumper. So we're going to go to our layer menu, add a new layer above all of these. Click on it and set it to a clipping mask again. We'll leave it just as a normal layer. And then we're going to add our taillight and our headlight. So we'll start with our taillight, this bright red color, the 8th one on the 2nd row. We'll start on the bottom left side here. And we are going to just make a nice little circle. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Click the circle button at the top to edit it, and I'm just going to move it up here a little bit, leaving room for a little bumper on the bottom. So kind of just placing it right about here and filling it in like so. And then we'll do the same thing for our headlight on the front. So find our yellow color, the 9th one on the 2nd row. And this one will be a little bit bigger than our tail light was. So a little bit bigger circle. Again, going off the front side, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. I think it's going to be even a little bigger than that, but I just want to see a little sliver of it. There won't be a front bumper, so just kind of anywhere right about here. And go ahead and fill that in as well. Okay, our door handle we can add on this layer as well. So that is going to be with our 3rd color on the 2nd row, the really dark red color that we used for kind of our back piece. And we are just going to make a nice straight line. Same brush. Let's increase the size a little bit to like 50% again. And I'm just going to make it right under my window here, close to my little door crack line. Make a nice horizontal line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. Kind of whatever length looks good there. And that is my door handle. Okay, then our bumper needs to be on a new layer because we can't have it be a clipping mask because it's going to shoot off the back of our shape a little bit. So we're just going to add a new layer on top of all of our layers. Grab the white color again, the 1st color on the 2nd row. Same monoline brush, let's set the size to 100% this time. And I'm just going to make another, small horizontal line just like we did for our door handle, just right off the back side here. So make a nice horizontal line, hold it down, touch your finger to the screen. About this length is good, and then we'll edit it. So click the line button at the top and just kind of move it around here. Place it nicely off the back side there. Don't mess with the blue dots, otherwise you might ruin its horizontalness. If we need to resize it, let's go ahead and just click our arrow tool to move it around or resize it. I might make it a little bit thicker from top to bottom and a little bit longer. Just kind of on the bottom here, going off the back side like so. Okay, and then that is it for our van. So our van is completely done now. So now we can do the resizing and moving around. So all of these layers are part of our van now. So starting with this bottom, like really dark red color, sliding right all the way up to the very top where our wheels are. Make sure they're all selected, so the only ones that aren't selected are our circle and our black line. And then we can click group so that these are all in a group together. Then we can just minimize the group by clicking this arrow, make sure that we're on the group, and then we can click the arrow tool on uniform, and we can downsize it and kind of place it where we would like to. You can do freeform too if you want to make any adjusting, just, don't do too much on freeform because like our wheels won't be perfect circles anymore. So hopefully you like kind of how yours is looking. So I'm just going to downsize mine and place it more on the right here and just make sure that both of my wheels are kind of touching or potentially even intersecting with my black line underneath them. But then my van isn't going outside my blue circle at all, so I might just move it in a little bit further, maybe about right there. So this leaves a good amount of room for our wave in the back. And then we'll add our sun and a few clouds to kind of finish it off. So next up is our wave. Before we do our wave, we'll make a little bit of sand at the bottom. So essentially, just like we made all those clipping mask layers to our van, we are going to do the same thing with our circle now. So we're going to make a bunch of clipping masks to this circle shape so that we don't draw outside of it. Until we get to our clouds can be outside of it. So we'll just add a new layer above our circle layer here, click on it and set it to a clipping mask. Grab our sand color here at the bottom, the first color on the third row, and we are just going to make essentially a small kind of wavy line. I just left my size at 100%, that works for me. But if you need to change your size, go ahead and do so. But just kind of a little wavy line across the bottom and then just filling in anything underneath up to our black line, like so, just to show a little bit of sand there. Then we're going to add our wave. We're going to do that behind our sand layer. So if we go to our circle layer again, click to add a new layer and it should automatically set itself to a clipping mask, like so. And this is where we'll draw our waves. So we'll grab the second color on the last row of our color palette, same monoline brush. Maybe we'll drop the size a little bit to like 50%. And I'm just going to start kind of on the bottom left corner here, outside my circle shape a little bit, and draw a nice curved line going in towards the center, like so. I held it down until it turned into a perfectly smooth line. Then I will click the edit arc button at the top. Then we can adjust it a little. So I kind of want it to curve downwards a little more, kind of more like this. I'll start with that, and then I'll grab my pen tool again, and I'll start at the tip now and kind of make the inner part of the wave. Hold it down as well. Click edit. That's way too shallow inside. Kind of adjust it a little bit. So I think that looks like a good shape. But just kind of make whatever works for you. If you hold them down, great. If you don't hold them down, that's fine too. Kind of whatever works for you. And then I'm going to just kind of connect them at the bottom here where my sand is. Make sure that that's connected from this side to this side so that we can fill it in. Okay, then we need to add just like a little shadow on it and then the little white part on the top to be kind of like the crest of the wave. So to do that, we are actually going to go to our layer menu, and on this layer with our wave, we're going to click on it and set it to alpha lock. So we need to draw the darker and lighter colors on this shape without going outside the lines. But since it is a clipping mask to our circle, we can't make another clipping mask that clips everything to this shape. You can't stack clipping masks that way. But setting it to alpha lock gives us the same thing without adding any new layers. So we're drawing directly on this same layer. So we'll grab our third color on the bottom row, the darker teal, and we'll first just make the shadow. So I'm just going to start kind of towards the middle here on the right side. Make another kind of curved line going down, following the shape of that inner part of the wave. Just towards the bottom, getting thicker at the bottom, and then I will fill in everything else on my shape right there. Okay, then we'll make the little foamy part at the crest, and that is going to be with this fourth color on the bottom row. Same layer, same brush, same size. And I'm just going to start right towards the top here, make a little kind of wavy line like so, going kind of back and forth a few times, and then I'll fill in all the rest of this at the tip, like so. Okay, and then I want just a little bit of like water spray coming off of the top of the wave. So to do that, we might as well just draw on this same layer, but we need to turn off alpha lock now. So let's just click on this layer, turn off alpha lock so we can draw outside the shape again. Same color, same brush, same size. And I'm just going to make a few kind of like little water sprays coming off of it, kind of maybe like some teardrop type shapes. If you need to change your brush size to do this, go ahead. I might lower mine a little bit to like 30%. So something kind of like this. And then that is it for my wave. So next we're going to draw our sun, so we can just again do that on this same layer. Same color, same brush. I'm just going to draw it over here. Just a nice good sized circle shape. Hold it down, touch your finger to the screen to make it a perfect circle. Set the sides and then kind of set the placement kind of wherever you'd like, maybe like in this top right area, and then go ahead and fill that in. And then if you need to move it around at all after you've placed it and filled it in, since it's on this same layer with the wave, just go ahead and use your selection tool on freehand with color fill turned off, and then you can select around just the circle, click your arrow tool, and then you can like resize it on uniform. You can move it around, whatever you need to do. So then lastly, we're going to add some clouds to the sky, and those are going to go outside of our circle shape. So we are going to add those on the top of all of our layers here. At the very, very top, a brand new layer. Same color, same brush, same 30%. And I am just going to start making clouds. My favorite way to make clouds is to draw the horizontal line on the bottom and then curved lines on the top. So that is what we're going to do again for this picture, like I've done so many times before. So I'll just start kind of inside my circle here on the right side, draw a nice horizontal line going outside of my circle, hold down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. I might click my line button and just bring it in just a little bit. Okay, then starting on the left side on the line here, on the end of the line, just kind of making some quick curved lines. You can hold them down as you go if that is better for you. But I'm going to keep doing that until I get to this right side and I connect back with my bottom line. And then we'll fill that in. Beautiful. Okay, so then I'll maybe do another one kind of across the top here. Maybe a shorter one this time. So another horizontal line, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. And then I'll go from one side to the other, going a little bit outside my circle at the top there. And fill that in. I do want it going just a little bit more outside, so I'm going to grab my selection tool on freehand, select around it, maybe even make it a little bit bigger, and then just kind of place it at the top there, like so. And then I think we'll do one more on the left side. So again, I'll make a nice horizontal line, hold it down, touch my finger to the screen to make it perfectly horizontal. I don't want to cover up my wave, so I will move that up a little bit. And connect it there and fill it in. Okay, then we can zoom out, and again, if any of them need to be changed, like this left one I kind of want to be a little bit bigger, I will select around just that one uniform and make it a little bit bigger there. I think I want my right one to be bigger too, since it's the only one over here. So it takes up a little bit more of that empty space. So make your clouds however you would like to, and then once that is done, that is our final step for our drawing. So we are all set. I am going to click my gear icon and turn off the drawing guide so that we don't have to look at that line anymore. So that completes our drawing today. I hope you had fun. If you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel if you'd like to see more tutorials from me in the future. Again, I have extra tutorials available over on Patreon, so check that out as well. If you would like to share your drawing on Instagram, I would love to see it, so go ahead and post it and then tag me so that I can check it out. And while you're there, go ahead and give me a follow so you can see what I'm working on next. Thanks for watching!